up. You're watching Lansdowne Raw Live, the voice of the fans. Join me, Martin Prendergast and Conor McAvoy as we discuss Jake O'Brien making his full English Premier League debut this evening. And we also catch up with a new women's national team manager being announced this week and all the latest news from OBIG. Coming up on Lansdowne Raw Live.
Technical difficulties here, Martin.
Difficulties is right. Yeah.
It's gonna kill you.
You're very welcome to Lansdowne Raw this evening. As again, I'm joined by Conor McAvoy. Some brilliant news this week in Irish football with the appointment of the women's national team manager, Carla Lane, and we're looking forward to chatting about her later on. But we've got all the latest news as well on OBIG as well. No Dave tonight. He's not feeling very well, but you're really happy that you're joining us for tonight's show. Keep those numbers coming. If you haven't subscribed already to the show, please do so on our YouTube and follow Conor McAvoy at Rep Tracker for the latest news, especially on our younger players coming through, because Conor is the man in the know. So, busy week in Irish football, as we said. We want your comments. We're the most interactive Irish football podcast out there, so we want to hear from you this evening as we discuss, as I said, the Irish women national team appointment. Do you think it's a good deal for Ireland? Do you think it's a good appointment? Are you happy with how it was announced? And also, we've got a bit of a fallout again, as it's typical Irish football fashion, in that Colin Healy, who was previously the assistant to Eileen Gleeson, he was obviously released of duties as assistant to Eileen. Oh, my camera's gone off there. Sorry, plug that back in. Oh, sorry, Conor, you were really frightened there, weren't you? Yeah, Colin Healy, a lot of press coverage this week about how he was expecting perhaps a contract. So we've got a little bit of news on that. Colin Healy made a statement during the week. I've already lost Conor there, so we better grab him back in if he can. But yeah, we want to hear from you, the Raw faithful, this evening. Let us know as well where you're from. It's great to hear you. But that's one thing we don't often get from the people on the show. Let us know where you're from, what games you've been to, what games you're planning on going to, obviously, in the upcoming games that we're going to be taking part in this year. So hopefully Conor will join back with me very, very shortly. But we're going to focus first of all on Jake O'Brien. At last, I think that's the headline news for us. Played for Everton the other day. We'll go into a bit more detail on OBIG and how all the lads are. Welcome back, Conor.
Sorry, technical difficulties there.
Technical difficulties this evening. Yeah, Dave is not here as again our usual host, David Dunn. But I think he is interfering in the background somewhere. But yeah, Jake O'Brien then, Conor. Let us know what happened there then. Good debut.
So I think it was a big positive. It wasn't it for Irish fans. He made his full Premier League debut today. Particularly, there was a lot of optimism in the summer, Martin, when he made the move from Lyon to Everton. I know there was still some people thought it wasn't a great move. Thought he should have stayed at Lyon an extra year, but he sorry, I just looked at a funny comment there. If you want to pull it up there, Martin, so people know why I'm laughing.
Yeah, Conor there went off to look at photos of Finn Azaz. As many of you will know, Conor is a big Finn Azaz fan. So.
But he was highly touted in the summer, but the thing is, Lyon had no money. They invested money, which they probably shouldn't have invested, and then they had to sell someone who was worth any sort of money. And Jake O'Brien actually kind of went for a bargain in the end. It was 15 million, and we all thought maybe Everton under Sean Dyche, as we've seen before, what he's done with young centre halves, he's turned them into very decent players that he would have broke through into a very good Everton side. But the real negative was that Branthwaite was injured at the start of the season. Michael Keane was playing every week, and we were shaking our heads wondering what's going on here. And it continued to happen. Branthwaite came back. He was fourth choice centre back. And then Dyche was sacked last week, was it? Or a week and a half ago, Martin? It was the Friday night. It was the FA Cup game when Seamus Coleman took charge a couple of hours before kick-off. he was due to start that game anyway. That wasn't a Seamus Coleman tactical masterclass in terms of starting Jake O'Brien, but he came in, done well. David Moyes obviously has taken a liking to him because, as we've seen now, he's now what you'd consider the third choice centre half at Everton, which isn't a terrible position because without the green tinted glasses on, we do all know that Branthwaite and Tarkowski are two very, very decent centre halves, and that if you're a third choice centre half at a Premier League club, you are going to get a lot of minutes. Like Michael Keane has played a lot this season, and if Jake O'Brien was the third choice from the start, he would have played a lot more. He would never have been dropped from the Ireland squad. But it was very interesting today, actually, that he played at right back, which is something you never would predict for a 6'5", 6'6", big, tall centre half that's not known for bombing up and down the wing. But in fairness, he done very well. He's excellent in the air. He's very good with the ball at his feet for his size, and he's actually relatively quick across the ground. Even though sometimes his turn it can be quite slow at turning, he's quick once he gets into a full stride. But it's a huge positive that he's played today. Hopefully, he'll continue to play regular minutes, whether it's at right back or centre half. It gives Ireland another option, which we've seen actually with just on someone else, James Abankwah, who played right back yesterday for Watford. I watched that 90 minutes. I thought he was absolutely superb. We've seen him play a lot of centre half and right centre back. He played a lot at right back for St. Pat's over the years, and kind of hasn't really played there since. When he went to Charlton on loan, he played there right back, struggled. So I thought that was probably the end of his right back days. But he was absolutely brilliant yesterday for Watford. Strong, fast, wins pretty much every duel. Brilliant in the air. I'm sure you've seen the video, Martin, of his slide tackle after 28 seconds. Brilliant way of announcing yourself. Maybe not to get the yellow card, but it's about getting stuck in early and making a stand, and the Watford fans love him.
Yeah, I mean that was great to see. With definitely with that challenge. I mean that's going to get the fans straight behind you, of course. But I mean, yeah, just about Jake O'Brien. I mean, it's interesting. You know, I've seen a few interviews with him, and after the game, chatting and saying, you know, that he is disappointed that he's not had more minutes. He knows it will impact Ireland. I think I'm paraphrasing here, of course, but you know, he doesn't regret the move at all. And one of the things is nice, that's probably to hear from today's win against Tottenham, who are definitely now being dragged into that relegation battle in the Premier League. But, you know, nice to hear David Moyes talk about him. Got a few lines from David Moyes. We wanted to have a look at Jake. We've not really had a chance to see him. The big thing, the strongest point of the team has always been defensively, but I thought Jake would maybe give us a chance to build a little bit better when we've got the ball, which might free us up a little bit if we can work it out. I think for long periods, it did quite well. For Jake, it was about getting as much for 90 minutes as we could out of him because he's not played so much. But I thought he came through quite well and did a lot of good things. I mean, that's just positive to hear. We love hearing about managers talking positively about our Irish players. And, you know, Jake will definitely hope to be involved in the March window, okay, with the games coming up there against Bulgaria, of course. So, yeah, it's positive there, without doubt. Also, then, we'll come on to OBIG as well. But yeah, let us know your views. Thanks so much. We're nearly up to 500 listeners this evening on a Sunday night, which is fantastic. Seeing some of you back in, the usual listeners are here as well, the Raw Faithful. Fantastic to see from you. Let us know who you thought stood out for the boys in green, in a sense, for over the weekend. Which lads will you keep an eye on, or are you hoping they're going to make that squad in March? Because, you know, we all have opinions. This is what we give you this on our forum here. Can you give us your views of what Irish players
and
you
just
think
on
are going
March,
to do well?
Martin, there's a lot of talking points. I know we're probably not going to talk about it tonight in general, but it's probably a show in itself talking about who we're going to pick in March, because there's so many names, and there's a lad that I've said to you about that we'll probably see in March with the paperwork being completed, and hopefully we'll see him in the squad. I don't want to say his name yet, but a lot of people know who I'm on about. But like, add him to the squad, and then you have Jake O'Brien probably coming back in. Andrew Mohamed-Ali will go out on loan at the end of this month, and you'd presume he'll be one of our first choice centre halves once he comes back in. Like, Callum Robinson's doing well, even though it's a question mark who do you take out for him. So it's looking a lot more positive than what it was a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago. So it's actually starting to pick up, especially in the year that it is. It's a World Cup qualifying year. It's a huge year ahead.
Oh, yeah, without doubt. I mean, look, we're looking forward to them games in March as well. I know there's a few comments coming in asking about, are there going to be games in June? We're thinking that will there be an Irish camp, perhaps a training camp or a friendly? Would be hopeful of that myself. I personally think that we need to do that. We need to give as many opportunities to the management team to get the lads together after that March window, of course, and then kick on into the fixtures. And it's just a quick reminder of what our World Cup qualification schedule is. Let's just have a look at that again. Obviously, Hungary in September. We've got the double header there, really, that part of the window, with Ireland at home to Hungary at Lansdowne Road. We don't call it the Aviva. And then we've got Armenia away. And then obviously waiting on this game between Portugal and Denmark to see who the opposition will be away in October. And then we've got Armenia at home in the 14th of October as well, again back at Lansdowne Road. So follow it up in that window again in November, where Ireland will take on Portugal or Denmark. And then the key game really as well, which was going to be a massive game for us, traveling away to Hungary for the last game of the campaign. Hopefully we'll have secured top spot by then, Conor, won't we? Might be a dead rubber, that one. But yeah, just on to them. We'll just move on to the women's team. We will be covering all the action from the lads over the weekend in OBIG. But just other news this week, at long last, we had a new appointment. The women's national team manager was appointed. This is Carla Ward. Really happy to see her appointed. Comes with a good CV, former Sheffield United, Birmingham and Aston Villa manager. And she's going to be appointed to lead the women's national team through to the end of the 2027 FIFA World Cup campaign. So that's great. We wish her the best of luck. Obviously, she's going to have to deal with some of the recent retirements, Niamh Fahey and Diane Caldwell, which she spoke on last week's show about. And do give that a listen, last week's show. We're on every week. We do a live show. We catch up as well with you during the week. Sometimes we recorded one as well. But the latest news in Irish football, do give us a follow here on Lansdowne Raw. But, this disappointment, I think it's a good one. It doesn't come without controversy, obviously, with the former assistant manager, Colin Healy, speaking out, giving a press release, which we'll come on to cover in a minute. But, again, women's football is on the up in Ireland. It's a kind of a transition now with this squad, lots of young players coming through. It's always quite fascinating watching the women's game, and even the transfer window is obviously open now. Lots and lots of movement, League of Ireland as well. Seeing that, I saw actually Ellen Malloy was a previous guest on the show, player I really like. She moved back from Sheffield United women back to Wexford, which I wish her the best of luck with that. Always a fantastic supporter of our podcast as well. So, just some feedback then on the appointment of Carla is that this is David Carell. It's a fantastic day for Irish football as we welcome Carla as the new head coach of our women's national team. We selected Carla as she possesses this perfect blend of expertise and experience to deliver on our ambition to qualify for major tournaments, competing against the best teams in the world and continuing to grow support for the women's game in Ireland. I'm usually excited to support Carla and the team on their journey. And obviously that appointment, it was kind of ratified by the recruitment panel, Paul Cook, who's the president, Packy Bonner, Laura Finnegan, Mark Canham and Aoife Rafferty. And as I said there, it doesn't come without controversy, sadly, because, we did have the previous manager there, Eileen Gleeson, who was released from her contract recently. But Colin Healy, who many of you will know from kind of infamy in a way, fantastic player back in the day as well, almost went to the World Cup in 2002. Some of our older listeners like me will know this, but, he was the one who was going to be replacing Roy Keane. But he is a fantastic coach in his own right now. And he released this statement just to go through. I'm sure many of you will have seen it, but this is Colin Healy's statement just to say how he feels he's been poorly treated by the FAI. And he talks about in that, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but, just that he'd sat down with Mark Canham or had a phone call with him and was told his contract wouldn't be renewed. Now, we know that Colin Healy's been through a very tough time last year personally. Sadly lost his wife last year, but he is really, really well respected by the women's team. And it was incredible to see, actually, when that was announced, the kind of outpouring, I suppose, of support for him, that he was, just fantastically supported, received messages, from many players, like Denise O'Sullivan. He mentions her in it's a very, very good piece of writing, actually. This statement is fantastic, actually. I mean, it's quite nice as well. He follows it up, at the end, that Carla Ward, he wishes her all the best. He's not really bitter about being released as the thing. I think it's just the circumstances, and he did have an opportunity to obviously secure his future and that for his family as well, but he turned that down to thinking he was going to be kept in the Irish role. But we just want to wish him all the best. Hope he's in a good place, and we will hear more from that, of course. There he is as a coach there with Ireland back with the women's team under Eileen Gleeson. And that was just an interesting one this week. Obviously, the Irish media, they jumped on that statement being released, and we did hear from a press conference, obviously announcing the new manager, but we did hear from David Carell and Mark Canham, and we're just going to play that clip for you now, just to get a bit of context to this.
The decision we made to not renew Eileen's contract was purely a football decision, and that was the same with Colin's in terms of a football decision. All of my conversations before leading up to the final games against Wales, and then after that, they were all confidential, and that's the plan, to keep that in a way. It's not my intention today to share any of those details. It's not my style or our style as an association. It's important to remain confidential. Obviously not in my control or our control that some of the elements of those conversations have been aired publicly. What I can say is I've been very consistent in all my conversations with Colin, his agent, and other people that have been involved in those conversations, that the decision that we make on the renewal of the contract or non-renewal would be based on a review, which is very consistent to what we've done with other teams in the association, with other head coaches. And it's very consistent throughout that would be the case. And the staff and players were involved in that review, and it was always transparent that would be the case. And the decision was made then, after an assessment, that we would not renew the contracts of Eileen and Colin, and that was taken to board for approval, and then a conversation happened between me and Colin on the night of the board, same with Eileen, and it was very clearly laid out there would be no renewal of contract.
So yeah, that's just obviously Mark Canham's take on it, and this has been quite divisive, of course, in Irish football, because a respected character like Colin Healy, as I said there earlier, respected by the team. With this, a lot of Irish ex-players who know Colin Healy or people in Irish football have kind of said how this guy wanted to continue in the role, wanted to offer his coaching expertise, I suppose, to Irish football, and we've kind of let him kind of slip away again. We do have a habit of this in Ireland, doing that, and it just really slams pressure on the FAI, because when a player or an ex-player or coach is releasing a statement like this, they feel they have to do so to get their side of it across. It just does really reflect poorly on the FAI, but fair play. I think they have come out fighting, and they've clarified this situation. We're going to just play another piece now from David Carell, who is our CEO, and he's just talking about that as well, because this has muddied the water a little bit. It's Colin Healy's statement, which we have posted on our socials as well. I'm sure it's familiar to a lot of you now, but it's just that he has clarified that he did have conversations. It's a bit of a mix-up, and sadly though, it just does, for people who are just kind of dipping into it and not reading the full story of this, it just doesn't reflect well on the FAI, and it seems like it's still a shit show, seems to be most people's kind of view. But give us your views as well in the comments. Do let us know on this. I know women's football's not for everyone, but I think this is important, that again, it's showing how the business of the FAI is operating, and we know to do watch and stuff, and we know we kind of will analyze and will be critical of them, but we will also praise the FAI at times as well. So we just want to give context, because a lot of people don't understand what actually the workings of the FAI are sometimes. But this is David Carell just talking about the Healy situation.
Thank you. Just to echo Mark's comments about gratitude to Colin for his time with the association. In terms of the exchange that I had with Colin, it was very clear that Colin's contract had not been renewed. It couldn't have been any clearer. The, I suppose, confusion, or maybe the question mark, is around, at that time we were made aware by his agent that Colin had other suitors, and this was when he was in, I suppose, the job market per se. We were always open to whoever was appointed as head coach, considering Colin as a number two, but it's always most important for the head coach to have that choice and that opportunity to appoint their own number two. So the exchange I had with Colin was very clear that while we as an association would welcome the opportunity to work with him in the future, there's no contract at the moment, but subject to who comes in and whether or not they would express an interest in Colin as being their number two, we would be open to it. And that is simply how the conversation played out. Yes, that is a misunderstanding by Colin. We could not have been clearer that his contract had concluded. The belief I had was that he had a genuine opportunity elsewhere, and while he could have sat back and waited to see what head coach was appointed and take his chances as to whether or not he will be considered for a number two, I expressed that I would understand if he did take another opportunity because it was a risk for him, and that was simply the correspondence that we had.
There you go. That's just that bit of coverage there from off the ball. So we'll credit them for that, of course. But no, I mean, just it's good to hear from the FAI on this. It's a shame as well. It kind of undermines the appointment again of the manager on that day. There's a bit of controversy still about it. That's Carla Ward there, who's been appointed as the new women's national team manager. So give us your views on it. We know Colin Healy is very, very popular. We have reached out to him as well for a bit of comment as well. We know his agent said that's the way football works. Of course, we know, don't we, Conor, that you do have agents involved, and there is sometimes miscommunication of who people are dealing with, and you've got to go to their personnel or whoever's their representation, and it can be complicated at times. But I think for Colin Healy to release that statement is quite kind of firm of his position on it, and I just hope it is resolved, and I hope that eventually there is a place for Colin Healy in Irish football. I mean, I've seen some comments already coming through, should he be involved in the men's game? I think, it's difficult. We've got to remember Irish football's a business as well, but also these coaches, they're earning a living, obviously from coaching and at high level, and these jobs, that's their livelihood that they're reliant on as well. So very important, I think, with that. Also, just on Carla Ward's appointment, it's important to note, I think Emma Byrne is going to be retained as the goalkeeper coach. So that's continuity with the old regime in a sense. And also Alan Mahon, who'll be familiar to many Irish football fans, played for Ireland over many years as well. So, give us your thoughts on this. Do you think it's damning of the FAI? Do you think, is it another mess up? Is it reflecting poorly on us? Struggling for money, struggling to sell tickets to things. People have lost a little bit of faith with the FAI over the years. But, is it another example of what can we not get our house in order? Why has it got to be so kind of awkward and controversial when anything's appointed? This should be good news, this appointment. And also just generally, Mark Cannon's in for a lot of criticism in Irish football. I think, even on this, I'm like many of you Irish football fans, I'm sure, different WhatsApp groups, different supporters groups liaising with, and you're hearing from different snippets. And Mark Cannon just doesn't come across very well sometimes with people, and I don't know why that is. I've met him a few times. I met David Carell. David Carell, look, pure conflict of interest, no worries. I've met him a few times, find him absolutely brilliant to deal with. And he said, he has taken this job at the FAI to improve things, and it will take time. He didn't cut around and wasn't bullshitting me. He said, look, it's going to take a lot of time. We need to restore faith in Irish football. So, I think they're trying, but, a lot of people are very impatient with it. So it's just something, obviously, to be mindful of. But we wanted to give you that news on Irish football for the women's team, especially.
But I think it's important, Martin, that we don't judge too much yet, because it's very, at the moment, it's very anti-FAI, and until Callum's or Healy comes out with any actual full-on proof that this situation has happened or hasn't happened, we can't really judge too much yet, because as me and you, Martin, both know, the Irish public, people like ourselves, will naturally go towards Colin Healy's side of things in this, because he seems a real genuine person. He's a quiet individual, and something like this would take a lot for him to come out and make a statement like this. But I think the big thing on this is Colin Healy will definitely have plenty of suitors, because he's very highly thought of. If you look at what the women team themselves have said about him, and the fact that Cove are after him already. So it has been a really tough year for him, but I do think good things are coming for Colin Healy in 2025, and that it should be a good year for Irish football in general, and hopefully he can get his next move in football sorted as soon as possible.
Yep, definitely echo those words, Conor, because, wish them all the best with it. And, of course, we wish the women's national team all the best. I mean, they've got a game coming up, a big game against Turkey coming up in February. So you can get tickets for that as well. We do promote Irish football. We will refer you to get your tickets, support the girls in green, support the lads as well. Actually, just a little bit of news on the season tickets. They've sold very well, apparently. I think it's expecting about 20,000 sales of the season ticket. I know there's a lot of controversy on that. So again, in the comments, let us know, have you renewed your season ticket, or has it become too much? Are you disillusioned still? Are you just not thinking, is it essential now that you have a season ticket, or are you just going to pick the games you go to? Just let us know in your comments. We want your interaction. We give you a voice here. We will cover all the comments in the show. So do let us know. And if it's abuse of Conor or me, we don't mind. Dave's not here to defend himself, but we are we are Irish football's most interactive show. So we're nearly up to 1,000 viewers. Quickly tag your friends, add them in if you're watching it. Send them a link to watch the show. Tell them to catch up with Conor and Martin on Lansdowne Raw. Dave's not on again
Oh,
tonight.
definitely.
It's the second week second time in 2 weeks now that he's not been on. So, this is the essential viewing.
Unacceptable, isn't it? It's not.
It
It's not
is.
what we expect.
Yeah.
I think I'm done with him. I think we need to look for a new host for the show. I think we'll find someone else out there.
I mean, he's
Ryan
throwing me
Tovey or
under the bus a little bit. I mean, this is just for you, Dave. We know you might be watching. We know you're not very well. And we know that might cheer you up. Just a little picture of Martin O'Neill there, who we know you absolutely love. So we just put that up for you. But yeah, look, we are, as we said, get the comments coming in. We're going to now come on to our boys in green, just to catch up with how the lads got on this weekend. And of course, as usual, we're going to start with the goalkeepers. So the goalkeepers for the Republic of Ireland: Caoimhín Kelleher was an unused sub for Liverpool this weekend. Mark Travers, an unused sub for Bournemouth. And Max O'Leary, 90 minutes in a 1-0 loss versus Coventry. And Josh Keeley, 90 minutes, 0-0 versus Peterborough for Leyton Orient. And Gavin Bazunu, 90 minutes, under 21s, a 4-2 win versus Newcastle. Any update on the goalkeepers from your side?
It'll be interesting now, Martin, actually, what they're going to do with Gavin Bazunu at Southampton between now and the end of the month, because maybe they might want to keep him playing under 21s until the 31st or so to get as close to 100% before sending him out on loan, which I'd imagine is the plan. I'm just guessing that they will send him out on loan, because you'd imagine a player of Gavin's Bazunu's talent, there'll be interest in his abilities, which I think has to happen. A loan which should happen. He's done well actually when he's played for Southampton under 21, so he seems to have kicked back off where he left it. Well, actually, he wasn't probably in great form when he got injured, but in terms of his talent wise, he doesn't seem to have lost any of the talent, which is huge. And Josh Keeley actually has kept another clean sheet yet again after what has been an unbelievable couple of months for him. I believe the Ireland management are taking notice of his performances as well, and I wouldn't be too surprised if he overtakes Max O'Leary quite soon in the Ireland pecking order. I know next season he'll probably be playing in the Championship, but I believe a top European club has been out to watch him every game over the last couple of months, which is very impressive. And Spurs will probably just end up making a lot of money off him, but I think he'll go out and loan to Championship next season, and then it'll put him right in the Ireland picture. Obviously, there's 3 top keepers ahead of him, but at the moment we don't know the current situation with Bazunu, and Max O'Leary's number 3 at the moment, so I could see Josh Keeley taking that place pretty soon.
I mean, we spoke last week about Bazunu and like how incredible it is that he's back so soon from that injury. And, again, you got to try and put yourself in his mindset. He's lost number 1 position just for the injury to Caoimhín. And now, he knows that March game's coming up. He's coming back to fitness now. He wants to be involved.
Hold on in his second year, Martin. Martin, what did you say? He lost his place. Why? It
was injury, wasn't it?
That wasn't why he lost his place.
Why wasn't
in the March games he was sitting on the bench? He didn't start the first one, and then he played the second one. But I think it was no, because I know we'll have a few people will give out about it. We have a few Liverpool Irish fans that would be thingy, but Caoimhín I think earned his number 1 place.
He did, he did. But I think it was a thing of like Bazunu. It was definitely pressure there, obviously on the role, and he got it originally, didn't he, from Caoimhín through injury as well. So, we're very, very fortunate to have 3 really good goalkeepers, and it's a position we're very, very blessed in. And obviously, Caoimhín not playing as much now. We were hopeful of him maybe getting a move that probably won't happen until the summer at that. But Bazunu now, if he's coming back to fitness, and Southampton will look after him, but they probably won't. Will they want him going off in March? Will they want him going off into a camp in June? They probably will. And I know there'll be a lot of liaison between kind of medical teams and things like that. But if I was Bazunu, I'd be thinking I need to get out on loan now and if he's playing regularly, unless he's going to be assured. I think he will be, though. That's the fortunate position. Even under 21s football for him, coming back from injury, I think that will have him ready for March anyway, even as the second choice goalkeeper. So, I think we're in a good position with the goalkeepers, without a doubt. So, yeah, best of luck with his kind of recovery from that injury, because he's done really, really well. And I've got great admiration for him coming back from that. So, and hopefully we'll stand us well for that March window. Right, we're going to come on to the defenders now. So the Irish defenders, here we go. Seamus Coleman was not in the squad for Everton, but a very influential figure there, of course. Darragh O'Shea, 90 minutes, 6-0 loss this evening to Man City for Ipswich. Nathan Collins, 90 minutes, a very unlucky 2-0 loss against Liverpool. Liam Scales, 7 minutes, 2-1 win versus Kilmarnock. Shane Duffy, 90 minutes, 2-0 loss versus Sheffield United. Mark McGuinness, 90 minutes, 0-0 versus Preston North End. Callum O'Dowd, 25 minutes, taken off in the 3-0 win against Swansea. And Matt Doherty will be playing on Monday, hopefully, against Chelsea. Jake O'Brien, as we mentioned at the start of the show, 88 minutes, 3-2 win versus Spurs, who subbed on the 88th minute. Ryan Manning, 32 minutes for a loss against Nottingham Forest. And Andrew Bamadelli, easy for me to say, is not in the squad. Robbie Brady was an unused sub for Preston North End. Jimmy Dunn, 90 minutes, 1-0 win versus Plymouth for QPR. John Egan was an unused sub for Burnley. And Erin Cashin, 90 minutes in a 2-0 loss versus Watford. And Anselmo Garcia McNulty, 90 minutes, 3-1 win versus PSV. And Will Ferry, Monday, playing against Dundee. James Abankwah, 76 minutes and 2-0 win versus Derby. As you mentioned there, Connor. But yeah, look, just on him straight away, I mean, we've seen Cleverly talk about him. And you said earlier on the show, like, quite impressive debut for him for Watford.
Yeah, he was top class. It was great to see now, because I was very surprised actually that he left Udinese. I seen that the manager himself didn't want him to leave. It must have been a club decision of James probably wanted to go play 90 minutes every week, which he was getting 45 minutes, 30 minutes at Udinese, but maybe at his age they feel his development is better elsewhere at Watford in the Championship, playing every week. He was absolutely brilliant the other day, as I said earlier. Strong, fast, won every duel, brilliant in the air, extremely composed on the ball, even under pressure. So especially playing at right back, which is, he's not played for over a year, which is always good to see a player seamlessly just blend in especially into a new side. And he got stuck in after 28 seconds. He linked up well with, I think it was Bad, played down the right. So it was good to see. And just on the other lads, it was Seamus Coleman, I think, is back in training. He was back training the other day. So I'd imagine it was fitness related why he didn't get playing. Erin Cashin was playing in that game actually against James Abankwah. He's by far Derby's best player. He was absolutely superb. If you get a chance to watch Erin Cashin, just anyone who hasn't watched him, you'll absolutely love him for the fact he's so small, but he's absolutely brilliant in the air, can rise above anyone. Left-footed centre half, so strong, brilliant in the tackle, extremely composed on the ball. And you'd wonder why he's not been called. I don't want to set in bad against Mark McGuinness because he's done very well for Ireland, but I would always have thought Erin Cashin would have been ahead of him in the pecking order for the Ireland team. And there was huge links for Cashin to Brighton last summer. I'd imagine they'll come back in, or another top club will come, or top, say, a Premier League side or a very, very good Championship side will come in for him again this summer. Like, he's club captain at Derby at 23. He's absolutely brilliant. He's a player that I love, and I think has unbelievable potential despite he's 23 and he's not achieved a lot in the game so far. But it's, for a weekend for the defenders, it was a somewhat positive, other than for Dara O'Shea, of course.
Yeah, 6-0. Jeez, I mean, he's been quite good though. Dara O'Shea, he's been playing all right, hasn't he?
He's played well. Yeah, he's had a great season, to be in fairness to him.
Yeah. Right, we'll come on to the midfield now. We'll just have a look at them. So the midfielders: Josh Cullen, 90 minutes in a 0-0 draw versus Sunderland. Jason Knight, 90 minutes in a 1-0 loss versus Coventry. Jason Malumbi, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw with Stoke City. And Finn Azaz, Connor, you ready? 89 minutes, 2-1 loss versus Portsmouth. Andy Moran, 90 minutes, a 1-1 draw versus West Brom. Jack Taylor, 17 minutes in a 6-0 loss versus Man City. Jamie McGrath's injured at the moment. Will Smallbone, cousin Will, 15 minutes in a 3-2 loss versus Nottingham Forest. Alan Brown, still injured with Sunderland. And Mark Sykes, 24 minutes in a 1-0 loss versus Coventry for Bristol City. Luke O'Connell, 55 minutes in a 3-1 loss versus Bristol Rovers. And Bosun Lowell, unused sub for Stoke City. And Conor Coventry, 84 minutes, 4-2 loss to Rotherham. And Rocco Vata, a player that we have spoken about on last week's show, especially 90 minutes there for Watford. So that's the midfielders there. Good to see Will Smallbones playing again. Cousin Will. Great job. I have to look after the family. I have to give him a shout out, Conor. But yeah, so midfielders, what are you thinking this week? Finazaz, how did he play? Because I know that's your go-to.
I didn't actually watch him at the weekend because I was focusing on the Watford game at the 3 p.m. kickoff. But I'd imagine he didn't play great if they lost 2-1 to Portsmouth and he didn't get a goal or assist. But we go again. Can't play well every week, can he?
No.
But just on more positive, who was I going to talk about? Boston all played 45 minutes for Stokes 21s on Friday, and then went with the first team on the Saturday to West Brom away. So I seen Mark Robbins actually spoke about him, said that he's been impressed by him in training and that he knew about him before, and he can't wait till Boston gets back to 100% because he's a player he thinks can offer them a lot. And he's been a player that I've raved about a lot over the last year, saying how he should be in the Ireland senior setup. Obviously, that back injury has delayed all of that for the time being, but getting 45 minutes in for the 21s the other day would be crucial for Boston. And it was just a pity he came back around Christmas time because the 21s football doesn't be on, and it's a way of getting him back. It's a way of building the fitness up by just playing at a half decent level. So hopefully he'll be back in the first team playing regularly soon. And the only worry I have actually with Stoke is that since Mark Robbins has come in, Andy Moran's been playing on the right, which I don't think benefits anyone. He was playing there last season for Blackburn for Blackburn in general, and it didn't suit him. Like, as good as he is technically, it limits a player of his quality playing out in the wing because he's not blessed with pace, although he's a very good dribbler. It's just not the Andy Moran that we want to see, and I would be worried now for the rest of the season if he's constantly playing on the right. It could push him back out of the Ireland squad again, which we want to see him in there. We want to see one of our best young talents playing regularly at a high level and playing in his best position and breaking back into the Ireland's starting, hopefully, team.
All right. Thanks very much for that. Do give us your comments, guys. Got a bit quiet on the comments, but we've got over 1,000 watching us this evening. So let us know your views and how the lads got on over the weekend. Which player you're most impressed with, or who do you think needs a move, perhaps, in this transfer window? And also do make sure you do follow Conor at Rep Tracker, because you'll get the latest news on all the Irish players there and where they're playing, and it's easy to follow them. That's all I do, get my updates from Conor, because he's the man in the know. And like posting the well, we've spoken about him before. I mean, Mark Robbins. Do you know Mark Robbins? Do you know what he achieved in the game, Conor? You're a lot younger than me, but I remember Mark Robbins from 1990. Do you know?
1990, yeah.
Saved Alex Ferguson's job, basically. That's the whole thing. Scored the
goal
against Nottingham Forest.
The FA Cup,
yeah, against Nottingham Forest. And kept Alex Ferguson in a job. But brilliant player for United. Scored some key goals over the years. So that's Mark Robbins, but a good manager as well. He's had a good career.
Yeah, he's a very good manager. He's good. He's done very well at Coventry.
Yeah. Right, we're going to come on now finally to the attackers. So this is OBIG on the attackers for Ireland. So starting off with Evan Ferguson, who's still injured, sadly. We do hope he's recovering well, though. I'm going to be back in soon. Troy Parrott, 70 minutes, 0-0 versus Utrecht. Adam Eder, 7 minutes, 2-1 win versus Kilmarnock. And Tom Cannon, not in the squad. He's been recalled from loan by Leicester City. Sammy Schmodix, injured still, sadly, for Ipswich Town. I could have done with him this evening. Festi Ebasele, not in the squad. Are there discipline issues? Connor's going to give us the latest on that in a minute. And Casey McAteer, 26 minutes, 2-0 loss. Mikey Johnson, 90 minutes, assist, 1-1 versus Stoke. And Chidozie Ogbene, sadly, still injured again for Ipswich. Callum Robinson, 84 minutes and a brace. I think he might have even got man of the match, actually, in that game. So well done to him. Michael Obafemi, not in squad for Plymouth. Spoke about him last week, so do catch up on that one. And Aaron Connolly, 27 minutes and a 1-0 loss for versus Hull City for Millwall. And Sinclair Armstrong, 12 minutes, 1-0 loss versus Coventry for Bristol City. Tyler Goodrum, suspended for Oxford. He got sent off recently. And that concludes the strikers. I'm sure there's a few errors in there, but we'll gloss over those and blame Dave.
Good, I think, actually.
No, it was all good. Yeah, of course it is. That's because we're running the show now. This is it, Conor. This is the future. Do let us know your comments, of course. Let us know what players you'd like to see in the strikers-wise as well. And that, I think one of the key things there, Tom Cannon, that move back. What do you think of that with Leicester?
Huge for his future. I think it looks like Sheffield United and Sunderland are battling themselves out for it. There was a report by Alan Nixon the other day that Sheffield United has £13 million bid accepted by Leicester, but I'd imagine there's no rush yet to move him on to where I think Tom himself was probably taking his time to make the right decision, because Sheffield United, Sunderland, both two very good sides, and I'd imagine the rest of the top championship sides will be in from, although 13 million is a lot of money for a championship side to spend up there, even though we've seen Birmingham spend 15 million on Stansfield in the summer. I think we can take them out of the equation, even though they're League One, just because of the owners are in. But for your general championship side that has very good players and they want to invest in a striker to maybe be that difference to get up the league, it's mad to see 13 million is a lot of money to offer, even for a player of Tom Cannon's ability.
I mean, just do you think he'll play at Leicester though? Do you know at all? Do you think he'll get an opportunity there?
No, I don't. He's definitely on the way out.
Yeah,
he's definitely moving on this, because the thing is, if he plays this month at all, and even a single second for Leicester, he can't play for 3 clubs in one season. So no, there's no chance he stays at Leicester. Unless there's a big injury, unless there's a big injury crisis. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean that's an interesting one. Like, yeah, you can't play. Just to note as well, bit of a kind of scoop there. A lot of people wouldn't be aware of that you can't play for 3 teams in a season. So yeah, he will be there at Leicester, unless he gets a permanent move, really. So, yeah. So, I was intrigued by that, because I was thinking, God, he's going to go back there like Ruud. He's under pressure though, Ruud van Nistelrooy at Leicester, and he's going to need results, isn't he? So, is he going to be reliant on that kind of type of player calling him back from loan? I was intrigued by the move, to be honest. But and any news on Ferguson? I mean, look, he's the one that we
actually that's what your mistake was. That's what I knew you made a mistake, Martin. You said he was still injured. He's not injured anymore. He's been back in training last week. But I just think he's not been involved, because I don't think he was involved today or wasn't involved. I think he returned, maybe was it the day before their midweek game or 2 days before, and I just think they know he's going out on loan and waiting for the right loan firm or whatever sake it is. And I'd imagine it seems like West Ham are leading the race at the moment because of the Graham Potter connection, but I do think he wasn't involved today or wasn't involved earlier in the week, because they don't want him to get injured or pick up a silly knock that'll rule out a loan, because at this stage it would benefit Ferguson and Brighton, him getting out on loan and going to West Ham and scoring goals as their number 9 and coming back to Brighton in the summer, or they sell him on for huge money in the summer. So it's good that he's back already, because a lot of us didn't expect him to be back this soon, because Hurstler was talking a couple of weeks ago like he was going to be out for pretty much the rest of the month. So it's huge that he's back this early, and hopefully a loan can be sorted as soon as possible and it doesn't drag out to the final couple of days of the window. So hopefully it's not hopeful thinking from my point of view.
Yeah. And I know, Conor, you obviously on Twitter, you run the Rep Tracker account and also contribute, of course, to the Lansdowne Raw one. But, I didn't realise, Conor, you also, not just following Irish footballers, you're also now taken to following the Irish manager, Conor, because you were one of the people who brought it to the attention of everybody. Not that one, other one. Here we go. Heimer, Helgrimson and John O'Shea in attendance at the Burnley versus Sunderland game. And Josh Cullen was the only Irish international on show tonight. But in terms of eligible players, there was Zirkin, Egan Riley, and Joby. Things happening in the background.
Joby.
Joby. Did I say Joby?
Joby.
What did I say? Joby. What did I say?
Joby. It's Job.
Job. Sorry.
Oh, Joby.
I do you know what? Regular listeners of the show, the Raw faithful, will know I deliberately did that just to kind of, as a kind of little tribute, in joke with Dave, because he can't even pronounce the likes of Robbie Brady's name. But yeah, so yeah, Chidozie, yeah, just everyone together, please comment. Actually, just in the comments, you can actually let us know which Irish player you think Dave messes up the most when he pronounces them or attempts to on the show. So yeah, back to this then. You think that was an important visit? I mean, it's interesting actually. I was following on Twitter recently when Tuchel took the job at England, and then straight away he's been at games. And David Connolly, former Irish international, of course, he's been quite scathing in the past of Irish managers not going to games and stuff. But this was Hamer and John O'Shea going, watching the games. And your account got a bit of coverage as well, didn't it? With the lads, who was it? Balls, was it? .ie?
Yeah, good lads over Balls.ie.
Yeah, give them a shout out as well. But yeah, it was good there going there, wasn't it? Just to see him out there and at the game and picked up. And
there has to be a reason why. There has to be a reason in particular. A certain player they're there to watch, or a player they want to have a conversation with at the end of it that they've probably been speaking to, because, like, as much as Josh Cullen is good to watch when he plays in the Championship, he is, in fairness, he's brilliant to watch in the Championship. I don't think they went to watch him, and I don't think they particularly went to see John Egan either, because we all know that John Egan only would have played if there was a injury in the back line. So you'd like to think that he was there to see Dennis Cirkin or see Egan Riley, or maybe have a quick chat with Joe Bellingham about, as I've said in the past, that he needs to get out of his brother's image, and he's trying to actually separate himself a bit from it, because I don't know if you've seen Martin, but instead of Bellingham on the back of his jersey, he has Joe. It's a way of, you can't blame him. He wants to try and create his own image in football and not always be known as Jude Bellingham's younger brother. And what better way of doing that is becoming an Ireland international and being a key part of Ireland qualifying for this next World Cup and taking Ireland to glory and showing what it's all about. But I think that's wishful thinking. But in terms of Egan Riley and Cirkin, I know Lee Carsley went to watch Egan Riley actually like about a month ago. So he's in fairness, he's been one of the best Championship centre halves this season. So if you're one at that level, England 21s will want to probably get you on board. So hopefully maybe a senior international call up would stand a higher grade than a 21s call up, in fairness. But I think Cirkin's the main one that we've probably been looking at, because from stuff I've heard in the past, there's been a lot of chat with him in the past. Even before it was Stephen Kenny had spoke to him, underage managers, and there was a few complications from people arguing that he wasn't actually eligible, but he's definitely eligible. So hopefully, I think he was probably the main one there to see, whether it was just there to have a chat with him and see where his head was at, or actually get there, see him in person, and try and finish the last couple of details with him and making sure he's on board for March, because it's about time he makes his decision on his international future.
Yeah, I think it's good to see, though, like the Irish manager and John O'Shea. And I notice there is a little network going on there that go around to games and stuff and watch these players and interact with them. I think Stephen Kenny did it quite well, to be fair. Just showing that, you're in our thoughts, and or with, you're on the radar and we're looking at you and stuff. So I think that's important to do. So yeah, fair play and well done, well spotted, Conor. And it's a little bit we spotted as well. Obviously, a player who, is a little bit divisive in Irish football. James McLean, he had a little run in, didn't he, with his with the Shrewsbury, the town of Shrewsbury, basically. He got a lot of grief. This is James's Instagram account, where he had commented in response, I suppose, to the abuse he kind of got from their fans, and a big hefty challenge went in on him by a Shrewsbury player. So he kind of responded, but then the fans went to pot and all that kind of usual kind of stuff then. But James's response was, in fairness, if I was born and raised in Shrewsbury, I'd probably be this angry as well, because it's an absolute cesspit full of inbreds. So that's James McLean bringing a bit of humour, obviously, to... I
don't think that was humour, Martin. I think
that was a bit of abuse. Yeah.
That was personal insults to people at Shrewsbury.
It's endearing himself to another football fan base, as only James can. A couple of other things I think just worthy of note. I kind of caught up with over the week, I suppose. I saw the Tommy Tiernan show, which is quite a good watch every now and again. But it was good to see George Hamilton looking so well on that iconic commentator that many of you remember from the 1990 World Cup as well, where he uttered the iconic line, "A nation holds its breath." So good to see him looking so well. I think he's gone through a few health troubles in the last few years, he said as well. But former guest of the Republic of Ireland Soccer Supporters Club in London, absolutely brilliant. His book's a really good read as well, and it's actually called "The Nation Holds Its Breath." But really interesting story. Great lad actually, and great to see him looking so well. So.
And Martin, sorry, we forgot to speak about Bessie, about his current situation from.
Oh yes.
When I spoke to the lads at WD18 for the Watford fan channel the other day. I was speaking about a banquet signing, and they spoke to me about Fessy, because it's been a bit odd over last month or two that Fessy went from probably being their best player at a time and being one of the best wing backs in the Championship to suddenly being dropped from the starting 11, and that the weekend he didn't even make the bench, and we thought it was injury related, but he just wasn't picked. And they said that cleverly had said in a press conference that Jeremy Ngakia, the other foreseeable wing back or right winger / right back in that sense. They used to be playing 5 at the back, now it's a 4, but that he was training a lot better than Festi, and Festi's training wasn't good enough. So it's just a question now, what is Festi taking it light in training, or is he not putting 100% effort in? Because when you see Festi play a match, it's always 100% he goes, and you'd never question his attitude. So you'd wonder what is going on there, that his training standard isn't up to par. And like, for a player of Festi's ability, he should be one of the best wing backs in Championship without a doubt. And we've seen him in the first half in England, against England at Wembley. He was probably the best player on the pitch, and he came on against Finland and tore them apart and won the game pretty much single-handedly. So it's very disappointing to see his current situation at Watford, and I don't know whether he'll go back to Udinese and head somewhere else, or Udinese will want him back playing as one of their wing back options. But it's very disappointing, because even over the last month or so when he's played, he hasn't even played on the right. He's played on the left, which is a disappointment. Like, because he's not. You don't see the best of Festi Abaseli playing on the left, because you're not going to see him pick up the ball and dribble with his left foot and whip it in with his left foot. Even though he did that in Finland, it's just that was one very, very good ball. But in general, that's not his game. So hopefully we'll see him turn it around at Watford, or head back out and loan somewhere else, or go back to Udinese.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because like we had a little bit of a chat in our WhatsApp chats, like I'm sure lots of Irish football fans have, and straight away, not to get on his back or anything, but when you hear questioning of people's attitude and stuff, and these lads, and we're all guilty on these Irish football podcasts, of course. Ours is number one, of course, but and most interactive as well. But we're all guilty of hyping up these players, and we want them to do so well, and we're so interested in it, of course. And then you hear like mumblings of a poor attitude or something, and we're not wanting the clamour of people to get on people's back. I think of like Evan Ferguson. We've had little mumblings of that about him, and Aaron Connolly and things. I don't know, is it that extreme? Even Obafemi, he gets questions and called out a little bit. People just think, what's gone wrong? Why is he not playing? And you look for a big kind of story there, I suppose. But we do want our players to kind of be playing, and we were expecting him to kick on, and hopefully he will. It might be a move needed and stuff. So we'll obviously monitor it here weekly, and we'll have more of our interaction on the OBIG, just to see actually lads are playing rather than just on the bench or unused. That concerns me when you're looking. Lads have got to be making a push now to be in that kind of period for contention, obviously under Heimer for the squad in March. If you do want to contact the show, just to let you know, this is our email address, pod@lansdowne.raw.ie. We do want more interaction from you. We'd love to read out your stories. If you've got any questions about ticketing or anything in relation to Irish football, or one other thing I would mention actually on that is if you are, Ireland are casting the net far and wide, whether you think that's a good thing or not. But we do have contacts with the FAI. We've helped them in the past. We put them in contact with players who, especially where I am in London, who are, underage, coming through academies and things, but they are eligible for Ireland. And, you hear they're doing well. Or even we've had players, like parents or representation from players, say, he's eligible for Ireland. He'd love to get involved. We've not heard from him. He does qualify. We've put him in contact with the FAI before. So it's great. And that's what I think that's something that the FAI do need, that kind of support from the fan base as well. Also, I did see the FAI schools played this weekend. Did you monitor any of that, Conor? Did you see that game against Australia?
Say again, repeat yourself. Sorry, I like that.
The FAI schools, did you see that game? The under 18s?
Oh yes, I seen that actually. I know I didn't see any. Actually, I was more focused at the under 15s played Australia's under 16s, which is the more traditional international football, as a sense. And I spoke to a lot of people there, and that's saying that the Australia under 16s beat Ireland 5-3, but they said there's a huge physical discrepancy in the two teams, because obviously, as we know, when the difference in a player at the age 15 to 16 is huge in terms of just that one extra year of growth and puberty, and that it was like men versus boys at times. But Ireland done very well, like to finish 5-3 against a team an age older than you isn't bad at all. And it's something that there's a lot of very, very talented players in that group, and there's one player in particularly who I don't want to say his name just as yet, but we'll be hearing huge things of him in the next year or two. So no, it's a very talented group, and I look forward to see how they develop over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mentioned the under-18s there just because I got a message from a friend of mine. I'll give him a shout out, JP Golden, and he just said like, my friend's son played for the schoolboys, Irish schoolboys. I won't name him, of course, as well, but yeah, he just said like it's supposed to be a very talented player, and it's a good result for them. They won 3-1, so yeah, brilliant to see from that as well. But as I said, yeah, do reach out to us at the pod. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories of away travels. I'm sure there's some very funny stories out there of trips. And we're up for more interaction from you, the Raw faithful. So, and also while you're here, make sure you are subscribing on the YouTube channel, trying to grow that. It makes a big difference to us. If you're listening to us on the podcast version of this, do give us a review and a rating. That would really help us. And let's just remember as well, we're giving you this content and these videos completely free. Conor does a really good job finding out where all the players are, who's eligible, tracking them, letting us know who's playing. It's a full-time job keeping up with it, but we do appreciate your support, and that's really important as well. And love all the comments. I mean, we've nearly got 1,500 viewers this evening, and there's not a lot going on in Irish football at the moment, but we will be there at all the games in March, June as well. Expecting to have one home friendly. The FAI kind of released that to a few of us the other day, the supporters clubs, just that they're thinking it will be one game at home, and part of that reason I think is because the obviously Nation League finals take place around that time, so it's the quality of the competition they want to get in there. Probably an opportunity to have a camp as well, and then obviously it all starts in.
Well, just on that, Martin, will that will that mean an away game as well, or literally just one game?
They're looking at, as far as I'm aware, they're looking at one home game, and then there may be an away game, but it's just the quality of opposition. They're thinking, and will they do a camp instead? Is okay. From what I've heard.
Okay, that makes sense.
So and also you've got lots of other stuff around June, haven't you? GA and all other things in London and in Dublin, of course, and opposition, the Nations League, lots and lots of things going on.
So you don't have to worry about that.
No,
yeah. Away for us, Martin.
Yeah. So yeah, do listen back to the show. It does come out on where you listen to all your podcasts, also the YouTube. Look back as well at our Lansdowne Legends night. We had a brilliant night, myself and Dave, and Conor was there as well. He was doing our spotting from the crowd, and we gave him a bit of a history lesson. But we were joined by Alan Kelly, Clinton Morrison, and Ian Hart. That episode, that's exclusive to YouTube at the moment. 2 hour long, 2.5 hours, I think it was as well. Just an interview with the lads, sponsored by Jemison at the Irish Centre. So you can listen back to that. We talk about Saipan, we talk about the lads' career with Ireland, and it's absolutely brilliant as well. So lots and lots of stuff happening in Irish football, and we'll be covering it, all the games that we'll be going off to, if Conor books flights on time, of course, and Dave doesn't start shouting at me about that. Right, we're going to come on to your comments. So, obviously, the context of the show, we've been chatting now for about an hour almost. So, some of these comments, we just go through them, and we don't really edit. We don't have a producer. So, some of this will be going back in a way to the show and some of the comments we've said in response to things we've done. So, Martin Fitzpatrick, Niall Ennis, at Stoke Irish. Conor, that's one for you, I think.
No, I don't think so. Actually, Martin texted me that on Facebook the other day. I don't believe he is. He's an Irish sounding name, but I don't believe there's plenty of Irish eligible at Stoke, more underage setup. But no, I don't believe he's eligible for Ireland.
Okay, and JOC, friend of yours, Conor, I'm sure.
Tough fella,
because he then comes on for your fella. Left to go look at Finnazaz's photos. We've said that one previously. So this is Keno for T-Shock. I still don't think it was the right move for him. I wish more.
This is about O'Brien, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. A bit of context. So it's about Jake O'Brien, we chatted about earlier. So you can go back and listen again. I still don't think it was the right move for him. I wish more Irish players were brave enough to go and stay abroad rather than sticking around the UK. Still, if there was any manager I'd want him under, a defensively solid and experienced coach like Moyes who works well with youngsters isn't awful. So good comment there, I think. And we wish Jake O'Brien that, yeah. This is in relation to the Colin Healy and how we believe he issued a statement earlier as well, just about how he felt he's been treated by the FAI. Colin Healy treated very badly. Room should be made in the Irish men's setup. Also, who was Hamer watching on Friday night? We've covered that as well. Obviously, at the game, Burnley, Josh Cullen, Sirkin, and who else was there?
Job.
Oh, Job. Yeah, not Joby, right? Job.
No, not Joby. There's no Joby.
Right, James Agnew, one of our writers. Again, do check out our website, lansdowne.ie, where we have a brilliant team of writers there. And James has done some amazing stuff, really, really knowledgeable about the history of Irish football as well. So, evening, lads. Hope all as well. Do we reckon Callum Robinson will get a recall in March? 10 goals this season in the Championship, so he's going well. Colin Robinson for me is one he plays week by week. He will never do it 2 weeks in a row. Basically, although he has. Look, I know I'm I'm not going down the Dizzy line here, Connor. I'm not going down Dizzy route, but
You leave Didzy alone. Didzy scored
he's just
20 goals in League One a couple of seasons ago.
He's just not. Callum Robinson, he'll just remind them, Cardiff, that he's yeah, he's brilliant on his day, but then it's just a very flat performance, or doesn't perform, and then does something. I mean, he got sent off recently, doesn't he? And he struggles with injuries. We need that consistency from him, I think.
A big thing, Martin, with him is he's out of contract in the summer actually, and I think he's fighting for a new deal. And he said, "I'm not make a betting against him," but he said actually, I think it was an interview a couple of months ago, saying that this is the best he'd ever prepared for a season, and he'd put everything in because he knows he's fighting for his contract and that he doesn't want to be released by Cardiff. And in fairness, he's having a brilliant season. I think he has a chance for March, but to say he will be picked, I think it's still very hard to say because like we have a lot of good young attackers, and where are we going to play him? We're going to play him up front because we have Ferguson, we have Cannon, we have Ida, we have even Sinclair Armstrong, who's just came back the weekend, which is great to see. And like Sammy Smollick's play up front, are you going to play him on the left? Are you going to play him over Rocco Vata? Are you going to play him over Mikey Johnson? Or are you going to play him on the right over Festy? So apologies. I don't think I don't think he has much chance unless he continues to score. And by the time March comes around, he has, say, 16 championship goals, because I think there's just lads ahead of him in the pecking order right now.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I mean, it's quite frustrating, really, his Irish career, because he had a good run at it, and he is adaptable and stuff, but he never really set a place down, and got that hat trick, and everyone's thinking, wow, like he has to start then, doesn't he? That's the way kind of perception was, but a good decent player. JOC again. How many friendlies have we in June, lads? I think it's going to be one, is what I've been told. Also, any update on Ferguson? And obviously, in response to who Hamer was watching at Burnley, Dennis Sirkin, I think it is. And just Kevin O. Things are definitely looking up. Good competition for place in most positions now. Mon's extended squad that never changed seems a long time ago now. So that's in relation to, obviously, Hamer being a bit adaptable with his squad. We're hoping that we're going to see different players involved, going to give opportunities to players as well. Even Matt Doherty, it was very divisive, wasn't it, last time that he got back in the squad? Is that going to happen again?
He has to be picked. He has to be picked, Martin. As simple as it's you can't deny a player playing every week and playing well in the Premier League. You can't deny that. No matter as much as he's annoyed us in an Ireland shirt, he has to be picked.
Yeah, we're not in that fortunate position to not have a Premier League player playing, are we? But it's, again, I think one of the things, it probably was a bit of a kick up the arse from Hamer when he did that, to show, you're probably not bigger than it. Go and prove it now. If you really want to play, you'll be here, and you'll put the effort in. I mean, whatever level of football you play, you've got to work hard. That's it, and you've got to run. I mean, you even hear that now about Tottenham and Man United and the troubles they're having in the Premier League, and play. The very basic of a player, professional footballer, is you will run, you will work hard, and that will indeed to fans. If you run and you do your best, I think that's a big thing for me anyway. Mark Tangi, sorry, I'm butchering your name there. Are we running out of time for a Ferguson loan move with the ankle injury? Connor, you've clarified that he's in fact not injured. We have got someone did say, Martin Fitzpatrick said he is down as injured on live score, but he is back in training, isn't he?
Yeah, Fabian Hurstler has said himself he's back training last week. So live score is probably just going to say that because they're just going to take it as he's not in the squad and he was already injured. So obviously he must still be injured. But Hurstler said he's back in training. So he's all right.
And could Mark again here? Could McNulty do a job at left back?
Yeah, definitely. He's last season he played there actually all year for PEC, Zola, whatever you call them. I think that is their name. And but I think he actually said to the manager in the summer that he didn't want to play left back anymore and he wants to play centre half. That's his best position. And I would agree with him that he could do a job at left back, but I do think probably at left back I probably would say O'Dowda, Brady, Manning, who actually played, was good to see him get half an hour today, are better options at left back because just the aspect of going forward, maybe defensively he'd be better in 1v1 situations, but it's modern football. You need someone who can go forward a lot more, and if Dennis Sirkin comes in, which we would really like to see happen, that would probably rule out McNulty playing at left back. Left centre half or anywhere in the centre half. He's a brilliant player, and hopefully he will see him in the squad in the next year or so. But not left back, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just a strange one, isn't it? Like talking about like players there. Like I was thinking, like Jake O'Brien played for Everton, as we spoke about earlier, at right back, and Darragh O'Shea played against Wales in the lockdown game. I remember at left back quite a few years ago now. But we do have an adaptable kind of defensive unit in the sense that they can all kind of go in everywhere. Matt Doherty has played wing back, played on the left as well, played in the right, of course. So, we have an adaptable squad. And I think even back to the point about Matt Doherty, will he be in the next one? If you're playing at a very, very high level and you're a good player, you can fit in anywhere. But the using the language, do a job, we've really got to be thinking we don't need to do that unless you've got a massive injury crisis. And there is just opportunities at left and right back of this team. There's opportunities to get in there. And that's where we kind of had the hope, even with Festi, that he was going to, the right wing back position, obviously missing out Chidozie with injury. So, there's options, isn't there, for this team and these players coming through. So we just need to find them. That's the thing. And obviously them kick on as well. Love this one. G, I like the little avatar, is that what it's called? Down with the children today. Evan will be sold in January. There you go, from G. And this is John O'Sullivan. The Englishman Martin is on, Conor. Oh, very good. And I like
God love us.
Yeah,
God love
that's
us.
it.
John,
Only
we'll be all
less
right.
in the evening, lads. Cheers, John. Yeah, just don't be alarmed if you have just logged in to watch the show. Yeah, I have got an English accent. I live in London. So part of West London, by the way. John O'Sullivan. Hopefully Louis Barry will be brought in as well as the others. Hamer was watching at Burnley match the other day. Louis Barry?
Can't say anything about that name. Cannot speak on him.
Okay. And then we'll quickly move on. Dave is probably watching Fair City. That's a bit harsh, John, I would just say, because there's no probably about it. He is.
John, come on. John, he was watching Love Island. Don't lie. He was at 9 o'clock when he started that. Love Island starts at 9 o'clock. Yeah. That's what he's been watching.
You should see. Our WhatsApp group was hopping. We were thinking, where's Dave? This is not like Dave. Like, normally he's on the ball. He's a bit, sorting us out and getting ourselves organised and things. But he was very, very quiet. And then we got messages coming through, and he was in the wrong WhatsApp group, basically. He was chatting about this one. Do you reckon that one's going to date this one? I don't know. Is that going to be her first pick? I don't watch it. But then we said, Dave, we're doing the show. But no, it is Love Island talk. Unless he's going in the house. I don't know. How's it?
He's a bombshell, is he? Yeah, he's in as a bombshell. David Dunn. What do you think? We'll get it trending.
Yeah. David
Dunn. Get him in.
Yeah. So yeah, he could be doing that. Right. Ben C06. Do you think Matt Topley will be in for March? We both think he will be. Yeah, we've had a chat about that. And Alfie Conneely. Good evening, guys. Are you both looking forward to the new League of Ireland season just around the corner and a really strong league also? Conor?
Can't wait. I'm actually buzzing for it now. It's not long now. It's under a month. Is it under a month till it starts? And especially the league starting, Shamrock Rovers as a playing Molda and still in the Conference League, which feels like the seasons of the Conference League is over when actually it's not. But it's a great time to be a League of Ireland fan. It's going to be a huge year ahead in the League of Ireland, and a lot of teams spending serious money. And I think we've seen with Derry City over the last couple of months, it's actually crazy to see the money they're invested in. And there's been rumours that they've been throwing crazy money transfer bids at players, which we've never seen in Ireland. But you hope it goes well for them, because it can be a slippery slope. It doesn't. But I'm very excited for the League of Ireland. Are you, Martin?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, like I don't follow it massively. Obviously, being under, I've kind of followed non-league here, and obviously Man United, it could soon be non-league. But I do keep an eye on it. And when I go over to Ireland, like see family and things like that, if there's a game locally, I'll go down there. So I do go to Waterford quite a bit. I'm going to try to get to a Wexford game. I do want to go and see the women's team at Wexford, because I want to catch up with Ella Malloy. But I think it's a brilliant league, and it's fantastic last year for the profile of the league. I hope even with the advertisement and promotion of it now, obviously jump on the name of Damien Duff. It's incredible thinking that Shelburne done so well, and Damien Duff was the manager, and it was on Sky, and it's like even the overlap were talking about it and things. It's great for the profile of it, and yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's a great league, and lots of our members of Irish Supporters Club in London are well behind it. We all have a kind of team, I suppose, and I'm always disappointed, obviously, from Kilkenny that it's not. We struggle for a team. There now. But obviously got Kilkenny Carlo. So and I'll give a shout out to David Roach as well, who we've also had on the show, who is a physio involved in the Irish backroom teams in the past. There's a lot of work with Kilkenny Carlo as well, and I know involved with Waterford as well a bit. So I'll be interested in it, Conor, and I think hopefully money will come into it. I mean, it is a gamble though, isn't it, with these teams? Is they're putting in crazy bids? Is the support there in the background? You just don't want teams folding and stuff getting bigger than they are and trying to push and risk and reward, I suppose. But no, looking forward to it, and I'll definitely follow it a lot more now. And try and
We'll
catch
force
a few
you to
games
watch it anyway, Martin. Will be forced to watch it this
You
season.
will be forcing me to watch it. No, I do enjoy it. I mean, look, I think I've told a story of it before. When I was over in Dublin years ago when I was at uni, we went on a field trip I studied in St. Mary's in Twickenham, and I did Irish studies and things like that. And we went over to Dublin, and we bunked off one night and went to St. Pat's at Tolka Park game against Shamrock Rovers, and it's fucking brilliant. Like, I still talk about it now, as we've been chatting about it now. So yeah, great atmosphere, and yeah, I like it as well. Like Brian Kerr, like he often promotes it, of course, and talks about like the characters in it and great interest in the history of it all too. So right, next comment, our legend boys, there you go. Who will the June friendly likely be against? I fear an Oman type scenario. That's from Nuri in UK. Hi Cahill, how you doing? We don't know who the opposition will be yet. I mean, look, we can rule out teams obviously from who's playing the Nations League and things. But yeah, look, it's supposed to be in Dublin. But they'll want to make sure that this season ticket package is. We know the games there. We know 5 of them anyway, don't we? Or 4 of them. 4, yeah. So yeah, they want to make sure that 5th one's quite attractive as well because they've sold tickets on the back of it, but they can't announce it yet. So it'll be interesting to see, I suppose, that March games, which teams or who free it up, because we're waiting on Denmark and Portugal as well to see what our opposition is for the World Cup. So that's it. We don't know yet, but I don't think it will be any of them kind of John Delaney derby kind of things. And Tony Herbert, I'd say the Irish boss was there to see Egan Riley. Great show, lads. Thanks, Tony, for your feedback. Appreciate that. Cash in for left back by Downtown 123. And a good question here, JOC. Everyone fit. What's our best midfield in your opinions?
My thing is, it would depend on who we're playing. For example, we go play Bulgaria at home. I would play midfield of Colin. If everyone's fit, because I would consider Boston now all being perfect in our midfield with fully fit, but because he's not really an international as of yet, I would say Colin, Jack Taylor, Azaz, and then, but say for example we go play Portugal or we play Denmark, I would say it's more of a Colin, Taylor / Malumbi / Knight, one of the 3, and then Knight actually really is the 10 in front of them, because we've seen Knight against top opposition how crucial he is, because he's so under. He's having an unbelievable. People don't realize how good of a season he's having at Bristol City at the moment, and we've seen in Ireland jersey how well he's done. Like, he's got man the match against France and stuff. One thing he has the ability to do is, no matter, he can play the ball into his feet. He'll take it on the half turn, and he's unbelievable composure on the ball. That he always seems to win free kicks. He'll take a lot of pressure off his teammates, because especially when you play bigger opposition, you need a man that can get the ball to feet and win a few free kicks, use his football brain to free things up, get everyone back into shape. So I think when you play a top opposition, Jason Knight has to play. When we play lower level opposition, maybe not. And I've actually forgot about Cousin Will there. Cousin Will actually can fit in seamlessly into that Ireland team. But I'd like to see when Smallbone plays for Ireland more in a deeper role. I think he's a lot better as a number 6 or number 8 than he is as a number 10.
Just on Jason Knight, he's 23. Yeah, like he's a mystery player for me. I really like him. I think he's better, more than a runner. I think he is clever, and he's been probably unfairly used by a lot of the Ireland managers because he can just fit in. Again, I spoke about like the adaptability of him earlier, of players earlier. Very, very versatile. That's a great comment there. Look, no Finn Azaz. He's not even gone for his.
I did have Finn Azaz, and I did have Finn Azaz. I said depends on the opposition. I said when you play the top, because you need runners off the ball. But
you said, you said there though, Jason Knight, he's having a fantastic season at Bristol, and it took him a long time to get out of Derby, didn't it, or whatever was happening there, and injuries a little bit as well. But like, why do you think he's not? Do you think that's his level, Championship? Like, why is he never gone?
What I would have said actually is, if you asked me this question a year ago, Martin, I would have said Championship is level. But from, as you know, how much as I love Sinclair Armstrong, I watch a lot of Sinclair Armstrong when he plays, and I happen to have watched a lot of Bristol City this season, and Jason Knight has been by far their best player. And you hear people talking about how he's a player that can go to the next level because he's been playing more as he would have always been really a number 10, or like, as you said, he's been kind of a utility player that wherever the manager needs him, he'll play. But he's been really Bristol City's main man in that midfield, playing as a number 8. And seeing the levels he's improved in terms of taking the ball in that, as I say, taking the ball in a half turn, and the ability just to win free kicks and composure on the ball, and it's something that it's such an underrated skill that people don't seem to think about. And his ability to cover ground, as you say, as a runner, there's no problem with him breaking up play or covering ground, or when you play a top opposition, sitting back, getting stuck into lads. So I do think he has the ability to go to one day be a Premier League player, whether it's how high a Premier League he goes, whether it's just like what Smallbone is doing at the moment, where you're up for a season, you're back down. We don't know yet, but he's only 23. He's captain of Bristol City. He's absolutely adored by everyone there. As Wayne Rooney absolutely loved him. So there's no. I don't think we can say. I don't think we can really say yet there is a ceiling for him as such. But it's definitely what I felt of Jason Knight a year ago. Things have definitely changed for the better.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I really like him. Like, it's amazing to think now. I've just pulled his stats up. This is Wikipedia, but like, so Derby County, he had 150 appearances for Derby. All right, Bristol, he's on 71, and he's 23. That's an incredible amount of games he's played, really. And then he's got, I think it's 35 senior caps since 2020 for Ireland as well. So, like, I really do like him. I think he's a really, really good player. And I think he will be a little bit of one that he'll be such an important player in time. Like, when he settles into that position, that experience will be attractive to a team who, for example, every player wants to play Premier League. But I mean, if a team goes up, they know what they're going to get soon. He'll be very kind of wise, game wise and stuff. I think I'd love him to kick on a little bit. Look, you think of like Sammy Schmodic's getting the move late on as well, and players do peak at different times, but we forget he's 23. Like, we talk about all these young players, and we forget he's a very, very young player, Jason Knight, and those stats are incredible. The amount of games at a 23-year-old at a decent level, and the Championship, as we know, like he's not massive, but he gets stuck in around it, and I do think he's so underrated, Jason Knight, and I'll never forget that night in
terms of
stats.
In terms of stats, which we don't really want to do, but I think in terms of, I tried to pull up thing on the phone there, but it wouldn't load. It was like the top 5 highest rated players in the Championship season according to SofaScore, and they've their rating of everything the players done. I think Azaz was number 5, he was a 7 point something, and I think Jason Knight was number 2 in the league, which shows that, especially as we know, Martin, with these sort of ratings that SofaScore do, when a player gets a goal or assist, it's huge for boosting up a rating. But Jason Knight isn't a huge player for picking up goals or assists. Obviously, we'd like him to get more than what he's currently doing, but to have the ability to constantly get a very high rating every week shows, I know that's not how we want to watch football in a sense, but it gives you a broad idea how.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's more he's standing out, isn't he? Yeah, well, you broke up a little bit, but I know what you're going to say it's more that he's standing out for the other stuff in the game, the kind of dirty work and stuff. But he's a very, very good player, I think. And like I said, that Luxembourg game, yeah, your internet's a little bit wonky there. I think that's just Dave messing around there in the background.
Yeah, all over the shop here.
Yeah. Just come on. We're going to wrap up soon, but we're just going to come on to your last few comments. Thanks everyone again for watching. Over 1,500 this evening. Really do appreciate your support. Make sure you have subscribed to the pod on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify as well. Throw it on in the car if you're there. All the listens help us grow as a pod, and as I said, our content for you is completely free. We're looking to do a lot of stuff in the new year as well. So, later on in the year, of course. And we do appreciate your support as always. So this one again is a player that we've been watching a bit of. Nathan Fitzpatrick just commenting here. Love the Watford fans raving about Rocco, and that new chant is top. Do you know about this song? Are you going to give us a burst of it?
No, I'm not. But yeah, they were singing it the weekend. It's a very good chant now.
Oh, would I? Nice. Yeah. Okay. Is it to a tune that we would know that is just nicked from another team, like, or another player?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, of course, yeah.
That's the best way.
But they're the best ones usually. Fair.
They are, yeah. And oh, there we go. We've done the Pizzazz one. Adam Kavanagh, love seeing a Banquo getting stuck in after 27 seconds on his Watford debut. Yeah, brilliant to see. Love that. That's what it's all about, I think, make an impression. And another question probably for you now, Conor, not public. Is Jack McGlynn now locked into the USA? I know he's 2 caps, but not sure about the current eligibility rules.
He actually played for US. You know, the USA have a mid-season camp for their MLS-based players. He actually played for them yesterday, I think, against Venezuela and scored an absolute rocket. So fair play to him on that. But I had it, and a lot of people in the FAI had it. A lot of people I know who'd be very well touted on these FIFA rules, which are very hard to keep track of. That once you were 21 and played at any competitive level, including 21 games, or he played in the Olympics, which would have ruled him out of playing for switching. But I see Neil O'Riordan, when he done his interview with Paul Nebel the other week, he said that he spoke to someone at FIFA who said they didn't count. So it's kind of up in the air. I'd like to think the person at FIFA would know more. Like, but it's like, according when you read the rules. By reading the rules, it would seem that he's not eligible, but then by the FIFA person, it seems like he's eligible. So, but there's that vote that is happening in the new year, which it's meant to mean that all 21 games wouldn't count as a cap. So at the moment, it seems like he's not eligible from my reading, but I think he'll probably, because I don't think he'll ever break into that USA men's national team at the moment while he's playing in the MLS, because they have a lot of high quality midfielders.
So that vote, then we'll obviously do a bit of research on this and cover it in the future show. But like, what is that? Just if you are playing under 21, you can play under 21 for Ireland, but you're not tied into Ireland. Then is that?
Yeah, in a sense, it was that. Like, say for example, Sinclair Armstrong is eligible to play for Nigeria because of his parents. He wouldn't have been able to switch. He currently can't switch to anyone else because he's played for Ireland under 21s at the age of 21. Same with Liam Delap with England, he couldn't switch to Ireland. But the rules being changed to say is that they can't switch. Under 21s caps will be the same as like an under 19 cap and under 17 cap. Yeah. And the age limit for instead of it being 21 for senior football, you can't switch at 21, below 21, for example, it'd be 22. They'll move the age up by 1 year. But there has to be a vote take place. But usually with these sort of things, when they come to FIFA, the FIFA Congress for a vote, it's extremely likely to get put through.
Yeah, it makes sense as well, though, doesn't it? I suppose. Because I think, like we've been the victim of it in the past as well, and even back into early 90s and stuff. And England used to always do it cap London Irish born basically as well. So just to kind of think, well, captain for England underage to stop Ireland getting them was definitely a thing. I think it was Kevin Gallen. They tried to kind of a good little player at QPR at one stage. So he was one of the ones that first came to mind there. This is just about the possible opposition for the June game. Wouldn't the ideal oppositions for the June friendly be Palestine? They'd hit that perfect sweet spot of a team who would attract a big crowd, but would not charge a higher match fee. You list in FAI. I don't think that will happen to you, Conor.
I want to play against a team that's actually competitive, not match. No disrespect to Palestine, but
that's a testimonial, basically, isn't it? Really, or something.
We want to prepare for World Cup qualifiers, and as much as a nice touch, maybe as a second friendly, if we couldn't get a second opposition, but like we want to play against a team that, in terms of testing ourselves, and you can build what we're wanting to do into the World Cup, because you play Palestine, it's like I can't even think who's fourth season. Armenia, it's a lot worse. It's like playing a worse version of Gibraltar, I would say, playing Palestine. So, I think
I understand the sentiment of it all, but I think again it's quite divisive, and I don't think I would want to go near it.
We'll let Bose play them. Bose would love to play them. That's something Bose would love to do. So we'll let Bose play them.
Right. Liam Hewitt, Hamo was at Burnley, Sunderland. Yeah, we covered this earlier. Obviously not watching colour, any chance of job.
Yeah, Dave's gonna love this.
Yeah,
job.
Egan Riley. Anyway, yeah, we covered that earlier. Yeah, he was watching them all.
Yeah, he was there to watch them all.
What about Collins as a number 6? Oh, sorry, I'm not even putting a comment up. What about Collins as a number 6 in front of O'Shea, McGuinness, O'Brien, Scales? Is he mobile enough for that? Is my question.
It's my worst nightmare, Martin. The only thing about him playing number 6 against England, yeah, technically he played there for whatever it was, 45 minutes. He basically just played centre half because he was just sitting back the whole time. And the only time he ever went into midfield was when Kelleher had goal kicks, and he would go up to the far opposition and he would try and flick it on or whatever it was. But he never really stepped into midfield and played as a traditional number 6. So as much as it wasn't really.
Here's Jim Bear here talking about Jack McLean. Played well in the USB SAB national game the other night. If FIFA changed the rules, he should play for Ireland. He isn't fast, but has a tremendous left leg that could help. And I'm not dismissing the comment, but it's a little bit like the one he could do a good job for us. Yeah, look, we need all-round footballers who are very good technically, all-round.
Technically, though, he is a superb footballer.
He is, yeah, exactly. So I'm being unfair on the phrasing of it there, but look, we do have to cast that net far and wide, and I know that's device as well from lots of the Irish faithful as well. And what's the story with Justin Ferrazaz and Kevin Zeffy? Just quickly. Are you setting these comments up? Is this your burner account?
No, it's just two Irishmen. Two Irishmen playing in Italy. I think we'd like, because academy football in Italy, to be honest, is pretty crap. Actually, Naz Razi making the bench for Como last week is big news. We spoke actually with the video, myself and Dave done about 5 breakout players about him being possibly one, and he made the bench for Como, which is huge in the Serie A. And I think he'll be on the bench again tomorrow. He wasn't involved with their Primavera side, so it's a big indication. But Zeffy's actually having a really good season since coming back from pretty much what's been a long-term injury, and it looked like he was going to get cast aside at Roma. He's top assister in Primavera. I think he probably would have liked to go out on loan this month, but I think Roma want to keep him, and I think we'll see Zeffy make his debut for the first team before the end of the season, which will be huge. I think with Justin Ferrazai, I think he has to move on from Frosinone. It's not their Serie B, and he's not getting minutes there, and playing Primavera with them is not a high standard, and he's technically very good. I think he, in terms of playing for Ireland, I wouldn't worry about that. He wants to play for Ireland, but in terms of sorting his club career, I think he needs to get out on loan or get a permanent move somewhere else, because where his current place at, in my opinion, is not beneficial for his long-term future.
Right. And similar kind of tone here. Either of you watch Trent Conor-Doherty much? I'm sure you do.
Of course, Jack. I watch everyone. Don't you worry. No, but I've only really watched him in the Youth League this season, which has been 4 or 5 matches, and he's been excellent. In fairness, for Liverpool, he's probably been himself and Rio and Gamala that played for them the other week have probably been their 2 best players for their under 19/21s, and I think he's just physically not ready yet, probably for men's football, but in terms of technically and how he's doing at 21s football, he's doing very well. So I'd imagine he'll probably stay with Liverpool 21s until the end of the season, and then get a loan in the summer or get a chance with the first team in pre-season. Actually, I'd say that's very likely. He'll probably go with the first team in pre-season and get a chance from there.
Nice one. And last comment this evening, a little dig at me, of course. Double for Didsy per usual. That's Dave McGoldrick, FAI Senior International Player of the Year 2019. Played 14 times for Ireland and scored 1 goal.
And wait.
It's one of the match things.
Matches?
How many in 14 games?
8.
8. That's incredible. Is that true?
Isn't it? That shows how good he is.
14 games.
Martin, you're forgetting how good he actually. Now you're forgetting how terrible we were at one stage. That there was only one good player on the team. We were so bad, but Didsy did carry us in a lot of games in terms of his hold-up play, his link-up play.
Oh, he did, yeah. No, I'm not knocking that. But no, it's just
it's hard. It's hard to blame a striker. You go on about this goal nonsense. But he had no chances. Who was going to create from?
No, I know that. Well,
we remember what James McLean's crosses used to be like. He used to do a step over and he used to hit it across the far corner side, and even Robbie Brady.
I'm going to look back. I'm going to look back at the games. I'm just looking at my book there because I will do this. I'm going to look back at the games and just check the quality of the team that was with him, and also the man of the match stuff. I think we need to definitely confirm that happened. And
he mightn't have got in general man of the match, but he definitely would have got
your man of the match.
RT, the Irish side of things, man of the match.
Yeah. But I think it's probably where I'm damaged with him was just Daryl Murphy went to the Euros in 2016 and offered. He did very well, but he's, he went ahead of him.
Not picking him. But Didsy.
He wouldn't have been advanced then. He wouldn't have been advanced then, I suppose.
Didsy's like a Sammy Smollett. He was a late bloomer.
He was, yeah.
He was a late bloomer. He got released. Was it Ipswich? He got released by, and then the next season he went and got Sheffield United's Player of the Season. Whilst they got promoted. So I think it's I think Didsy. I think you're giving him an awful slack for being a late bloomer.
Well, still, it's just,
And you love Sammy Smaddox, and he was a late bloomer.
well, Swanix brings a bit more to us, I think. And Hendricks in midfield might as well have been playing non-league, says Baylor. So anyway, we're going to leave it there this evening. Thanks again, everyone, for your support and comments. We've got over 1,600 watching us this evening. Do follow Rep Tracker on all the socials, of course, and ourselves as well. Do give us that little bit of feedback. We would appreciate that. I'm at PrenDM on X or LRaw_pod for X as well, where we will be getting a bit more interactive on the tweet machine. I don't like calling it X. It annoys me.
And I think, Martin, the most important thing for tonight is if you enjoyed the show, make sure you go onto YouTube and like the video, because that's the biggest thing that helps grow the channel, helps push it out in the algorithm. Is just, even if you have 2 seconds, just go onto the video on YouTube and hit the like button if you could.
Yeah, it would be appreciated. As I said, like we've spent a couple of hours now chatting, almost a couple of hours just chatting about Irish football, giving you the latest news in the Irish players. We've done the work for you. Do follow the accounts, of course. You will get it there. But it's brilliant to have so much interaction on a Sunday night. And we do thank you for your support. So that's it. Over and out. Lansdowne Raw live on a Sunday. Thank you very much for your support, and we'll catch up with you soon. Come on, you boys in green.